Greetings. Shop Talk Podcast. Greetings. I'm Norma Jo Thomas, and I am here with my favorite barber, Jamel Thomas, and we are at the historic Joe's Barbershop, right here in the historic African-American community of Acres Homes. Joe's Barbershop is the home of Shop Talk. The Shop Talk podcast celebrates the old school black barbershop, where there were conversations about just about everything relevant to the black community. Tune in to Shop Talk. Greetings, and welcome to Shop Talk. And I am your host, Norma Jo Thomas. And I'm not just excited today, I'm nervous because we are live, everybody. We are live here in the historic African-American community of Acres Homes. Yes. And we are right here in the middle of what? Joe's Barbershop.
We got the power group.
Oh, yeah, we got the power group.
And we got power in the room. I'm not going to call no names.
I'm going to call some names
because of this power we got up in here.
No, I'm calling some names. I'm calling some names. Now I'm going to call one name. I got a little brother back here to my right. His name's Jimmy Jacob. We'll talk to him in a minute, but he ain't the power. He ain't bring the power. No, I'm just kidding. We don't want to do that to him, but we are really, really excited and really proud to have with us in the house. We have the presiding bishop of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church, the Shrines of the Black Madonna of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church, Bishop D. Kimati Nelson. You can't see him on camera, but he is in the house with us. And we call him Jeramoji. Yes, we do. So we're all here and we're excited. We even got a new PA.
All right,
we got a new PA. Mr. Justin is our new PA. And of course, Nolan is back there doing his thing. And of course, my sidekick, my ace boon coon, my left hand, my right hand, my co-host, Miss Angela Faye Cesar, that I call Mayasa.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to let her introduce herself in just a second. But what you need to know is that she is none other than the manager of the Shrine Cultural and Event Center out of the Shrine of the Black Madonna of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church out there on the south side. And she made her way to the north side today. So welcome, Naila.
Okay, I'll introduce myself. My name is Naila Kimati Nelson. I am the National Director of the Shrine Cultural Center and Bookstores in Atlanta, Detroit, and the Event Center in Houston. I've been doing that for 12 years now.
Okay.
We started a Buy Black movement with the Buy Black Marketplace, and we are still going strong since 2012.
Indeed.
Going on with classes, everything that we can do to elevate the consciousness of our people, young or old, bring them into some form of enlightenment.
Correct.
And I've been in the church since 1979.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
We were just babies in 1970.
I like that season.
Well, awesome. You know, maybe I did know that you were national director, and maybe it just slipped my mind. Maybe, but that's awesome. Okay, so you're the national director. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I also have with me, to my far left, my brother, Mr. Robin Anderson.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Robin J. Anderson, and I'm your community ambassador. I run for Texas State House Representative, District 139. I've been in Acres Home community for the past 15 years, and I saw a need in the community. And so where I see a need, I put it in my energy, and here I am here today. And I appreciate you allowing me to come in and share my story.
Awesome. Mayasa, you want to say anything before I jump on right in?
Actually, no, because you said it all. I'm your right hand, your left hand, your center, all that good stuff right there.
I didn't say center.
Oh, you didn't? Mm-mm. You should have. So anyway, y'all, we are just so excited about who we have here. And we're just going to get, as Norma Jo would say, we're just going to get right into this. So Sister Rabia, let's go.
Okay. So today we are talking about Black culture. And we're asking two questions. The first question is culture keeping. Why bother? Cultural appropriation. Why care? Now, I didn't make those questions up. Believe it or not, I have literally been asked those particular questions. So I thought, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it. And I invited these two individuals here because, number one, I know that Naila is just immersed, submerged, surrounded by, inundated with any other synonyms we could come up with in the culture. And I know that she can bring a perspective to us like none other. And I brought Brother Rob in because Brother Rob works right here in the Acres Homes community where we are. And I know that one of his number one goals is keeping culture, Now, I was actually introduced to the concept of culture keeping by none other than Bishop Anika Sala. Years ago, we were chatting, and she said that there had been a group in the church who were culture keepers. And when she told me that, and we talked about the concept and just the idea that there needed to be somebody to keep the culture, that has never left me. So I thought, okay, we're going to talk about that today. But I want to share this with you guys before. This is a quote from Elaine Locke, 1907. Lynching, beatings, castrations, and more lynching. It almost passes human understanding how a people can be so socially despised, yet artistically esteemed, so degraded, yet culturally influential, so ostracized, yet a dominant editorial force in American life. Again, that was Elaine Locke back in 1907.
Wow.
And then that's still relevant today.
We're in a whole nother century.
It's still relevant.
And it is still relevant today. And you talk about relevant, I had a brother on who is the president and CEO of the Acres Homes Chamber for Business and Commerce. And we were talking about Jaramogi Abebe. And I quoted something from him, and he mentioned that he had read Black Christian Nationalism years ago, but we talked about its relevance still today. So this conversation that we're having is very, very relevant. Not only is it relevant, it's much needed. It's very much needed. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to just ask you guys, what is your definition of culture? And if you want to kind of throw in your definition of Black culture, that's cool too. You can do it all at one time. But let's kind of set the stage for what it is we're actually talking about.
Okay, well, I'll start off here. Black culture is our expression as an African people that we come together. Culture is the glue, the experience that binds us together, our traditions, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we wear our hair, the signs that we do that only we know in our culture what it represents. So that's us, Black culture, African culture. And we define who we are by our culture.
All right. Brother Rob?
I agree. I like to add to that, like you were saying about how we talk to each other. You know, we can talk and say something without even.
Yes.
You know, it's our culture. It's who we are. It's like, and it's the pride of just being who we are. You know, and it's so. How can I put it to you? I think that it's confused admiration that is hate. You know, and we're just being who we are, and it's not our fault. You know, so it's just what God chose.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of hate with it, but there's a whole hell of a lot more copying of it.
That
you cannot look on the internet, any form of social media there is currently today, and not see some other race, cultural group trying to take what we've got and make it their own. And so that reality shows us and should continue to show us how rich and powerful our culture is, you know, and how strong we are coming from our ancestry of African people, you know, because they're trying to get it any way they can and claim it for their own.
You know, Brother Rob, you were saying that sometimes it's just a look. I was watching this video. It was Keke Palmer. And I forget who the other actress is. I forget that. So they were on, I'm like Password, some kind of game show. And the word was Titanic. So Keke Palmer said, Mary. Nothing else was said. The rest of it was like,
right.
And this is what they did between each other. And so the other actress was like, I know what it is. I know. She was like, girl, just say it. And so the other actress said to the host, she said, you don't understand, but there's a lot of Black conversation going on right now.
Mhm.
And she says, just say it, girl. And she said, okay, Titanic. And the entire audience just exploded because nobody could understand. How did she get that just from that? And that video has been passed around. And of course, all the comments are that because that's who we are. It's like I said, and I was, when I was sharing it with others, I was like, we communicate telepathically.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I wanted to say as we dive in is that you're going to hear us talk a lot about culture in terms of what's happening here in Acres Homes, because that's our grounding. That's where we live, work, and will probably die. But what I want to make sure is understood is that for anybody who's viewing, anybody who's listening, it is intended for this conversation to be taken to every community. This is something that we are experiencing globally. And I had a conversation with my daughter this morning. Yeah, today is her birthday.
Shout out to Shaka.
Yeah, so she ditched us today because today was her birthday. She's out there fofo in the fofo. So happy birthday. But she was asking, so we're just talking about, the topic and everything. And I told her, I said, I am looking at this globally.
Right.
I am looking at this from the standpoint of melanated people. There are things that we share globally that are ours. And she was saying, I'm just asking because, I've even been told, like, if I wear, my African centered attire, then am I not appropriating a culture? And just, I have to educate people all the time and said, no, I am expressing the roots of my culture. So I wanted to make sure that, I dropped that thought in as well. So we're going to keep talking a little bit about the definition of Black culture and how it's presented in society today. Now, I got to bring in social media.
I got a quick question for you.
Go ahead.
You mentioned melanin. Do y'all know what's the most expensive element out there right now? It's more expensive than gold.
You're going to tell us. Go ahead.
No, you got to guess first. That's the question.
Well, I already know because you and I have had this conversation. So
spit it out.
It's melanin.
It's melanin.
Melanin is more expensive than gold, platinum, silver, copper, everything. So because they really can't take that from us, we get it naturally. They have to pull it from us in order to sell it.
Exactly. I get you. So now let's go back. Social media.
Okay.
Social media, and Carlos Swad and I had this conversation when he was here, and Faraha, and we were talking about the fact that if we allowed it, social media would define pretty much everything for us. And so since we're talking about culture, particularly, if we allowed it, social media would define what Black culture is right now.
Good point.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, since social media is worldwide, international, it easily defines who anybody is.
Sure.
By the following and the reels that we do, the stories that we tell. We are now becoming defined, whether it's our culture or anybody's culture, by what's on social media. And the kids are grabbing it up, whether it's truly,
come on now,
the truth is being defined on social media. That's another thing.
Yes.
Whether we're letting someone else give their impression of us or tell their story about us, that's another thing. But it is something that we can control because it defines us.
Yes.
And with reference to what Fundi Naila is saying, there then lies another reason for the importance of the culture keepers.
As her brother was saying, melanin, they extract it from us, they sell it. Now that's a commodity, just like our culture is a commodity. Black culture is bought and sold, stolen, but it is a commodity because the world we live in makes it a commodity, and it's popular.
Yes, makes it popular. We have to own it.
No, Brother Rob, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say something. So I didn't really look at how you presented it earlier about being a culture. While we kind of keep it together, whatnot. So that's why I created Tree Lighting, because I saw that they were coming in and they were trying to push us out. And I was like, no, we are still here. Now we're here. We're going to show you that we're still here. And so that's my contribution to the community, because I saw a need. It's one thing that I found true is that the truth don't have to defend itself.
Yes.
So by us being who we are, they can go out to social media and lie on us all they want, but when it comes back around to it, they're gonna see where it starts at. So we have to defend it. It's going to defend itself.
I think that, but my concern, and I think one of the things that drives me is that when I see young people and everything is being stripped away. A lot of people who say, "Oh, we didn't get that in school. We didn't get that in school." We got it. So we had very strong Black teachers back in the day before integration, before we were shuffled around. So a lot of things that young people, and I say young, but I'm also talking about people who are probably like in their 40s and 50s, you know, who are saying we weren't taught this in school. We weren't taught. Well, we were. But now you have a generation that is literally not being taught, and they're not going to be taught because education is changing before our very eyes. They are not going to be taught it there. So where else are they going to get an understanding of who they are? It's not happening in the homes. Those conversations are not taking place. So one of the things that we said, and I keep referring back to Aswad and Faraha because that was such a lively conversation that we had. We came up with the phrase, and I've already designed the T-shirt. So I have to tell Aswad, he better get on it because I've already designed the T-shirt. Change the algorithm. We've decided that we need to establish a movement to change the algorithm. Because what's happening is we're not in charge of the algorithm. So what's being propagated, what's being pushed out is all of the negativity and all of those things that I know I personally do not want to see connected to and defining my culture.
Exactly.
So I believe that going back, that's where you're saying the truth does not need defending. But if that truth doesn't have an opportunity to rise to the top, if that truth doesn't get out there, then what they say, the squeaky wheel gets the noise. Gets the what? The grease. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know, so we do have to do our part in not only defending the truth, we've got to present that truth as well. So now, and I want y'all are jumping the gun, man. Y'all are talking about how I keep the culture. I ain't asked you that yet. We're going to talk about that.
I thought you mentioned it.
Because here's what not yet. Because I want to lay the framework.
Okay.
So I think we've gotten a good picture of culture, Black culture. What does that mean? So anybody who's listening, anybody who's viewing, you don't have to be confused about what we're talking about. We've been clear about what it is that we're talking about. Now, how do we give it away? How has it been stolen? So we can go back, and I'm gonna give you a little frame of reference in a minute. When we get to our artistic impact today, I'm gonna do a poem. I'm gonna do an excerpt of a poem from Langston Hughes. And the first line says something to the effect of, because I did memorize it, but he says, "They've taken our blues and gone." So I want us to talk about that. The fact that, okay, we had that time period. It's not over with, but when our culture was being usurped, was being stolen at every turn. The music, the dance, the fashion, the laugh, the style, our whole zhuzh, our whole vibe, our whole essence. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the giving away, and let's talk about the purloining. Let's talk about the stealing as well.
You know, I was watching something last night, late, Dr. Africa. And he mentioned about everything from what we eat to everything we're absorbing, right? So right now, our culture, our food is based off of scraps, right? And so when you look down at their plate, you can go into an Asian community and they can assimilate their culture with their food. But with our food, it's chicken, fried chicken, it's pork, it's this and that. That's how deep this is. From everyone, you know, just us eating, absorbing our food and whatnot, that's been taken from us. So we can't assimilate with our food. It's a wrap. We got to start back to that part of how we eat, and then go from there. How we just everything, how we eat, it affects us. How we move, how we think, how we talk.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is the impact on our culture is coming also from what we are taking in, and that's impacting what we're giving out. So I'm going to let the conversation move about, but I want to come back to that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe that, mind, body, and spirit is one whole piece, right? So a person cannot tie a shoe if they don't know what a shoe is. So what I'm saying by that is that the mind has to be able to have something in it so it can understand the other working parts of it. You can be, in other words, what I'm saying is that you can be aware of something just by hearing it or seeing it or whatever. But if it has not been processed and put in here, you will still remain that person that you are. So knowledge is power, but the understanding and the application of that knowledge is what brings about that change. So when we talk about, Brother Robert, you're saying about the plate, if we don't understand the dynamics of who we are and whose we are and what we are, then that plate is not going to mean anything. We're just going to be vegan or healthy eating foods. So we have to make sure that
y'all was getting deep for me. I was trying to connect these dots.
We have to make sure that we're getting it all, is what I'm saying. It has to be there.
Well, what I'm saying, to your point is, if you're eating slop, you're still not going to know who you are. But when you're eating healthy, then you become aware of who you are. So if you're vegan and you're whatever it is, it has the temple has to be able to receive what you're giving it in order to know who you are. They're attacking our food because they know who and what we are. Once we figure it out, it's a wrap. So we're being taught on it's a spiritual level, and it's starting with our food. Okay. In my opinion.
So let me ask you this: what do you feel then is the grounding for what we're going to call healthy living, healthy dieting, healthy what we eat? The nutritional way of eating. What do you think then, as an African-centered people or as a melanated people, what is the grounding in that? It's like, why, as this person, as I am, and because we're talking about, connecting to our culture, then what is that connection?
The connection is what we're doing now. We're talking about it because, like you just said, if you don't know that shoe and how to tie it up, then it's just a shoe. But by us talking about it, we're getting to a point to where we know what it is. So now we can help heal what it is and then move forward. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it is. Like I said, y'all were going deep. I'm just going to sit back and listen. I'm processing. So I'm trying to connect the dots. But I really do feel like Mayasa had kind of connected those two pieces for me, but I think that's kind of going to another level as well. I really, really want to dive into the culture. Now and what I'm hearing you say is that that's one of those aspects of giving it away. When we're not connecting with what we are putting inside of us, then we are actually, in essence, we're not only just giving our culture away, we're giving ourselves away. We're disconnecting with the essence of who we are. So we have been conditioned over years to eat a certain diet, to partake of a certain thing. And we don't understand that was not naturally us.
Right.
Now, one thing that I do understand, and I think maybe what helped me connect with it, is I remember years ago in the shrine, we were on a macrobiotic diet.
That's right.
And the macrobiotic diet, what I understood the essence of it was, you eat what is natural to your environment. Those things that are grown where you live, those things that are harvested where you live, those are the things that you partake of. But us as African people, it goes even a step farther than that. It goes to who we are in our DNA.
Yes. That's it. Yes.
See, I'm so smart. I sat here and figured that out.
But then there's another part that we're not looking at when we're giving it away. Right. There's an aspect of us giving it away because we don't think highly of it.
Come on.
And then we think, I can give it away because that'll buy me in to another larger group that will accept me. And then I won't be looked at as this poorly Black person. I'll be accepted by them. So that's just myth of the Declaration
Come
of
on.
Black inferiority.
Inferiority.
And so we think by giving it away to them that they're going to say, oh, attaboy, attagirl, good old thing. She's a little bit different.
Yeah,
You're now part of the group.
You're part of the group.
Part of the group.
Yeah.
And that's what that broken love affair, where we seek to identify with them and be like them and be accepted by them. We in the field are not as good as the house Negroes, right?
Yeah.
So are the darker ones are not as bright as the lighter ones.
Yeah.
They have already created division among us, and we accept it and we believe it. But those are all lies. And that is how we give it away, trying to identify with
another group of people
That's
that
a mic
have
drop.
And you know
no
what?
interest in us at all.
The flip side of that coin is not only trying to identify, but trying to, and if this is even a word, trying to disidentify, trying to unidentify.
Right.
You know,
Sister Rawiya, you be making up some words on the show.
I like that Rawiya's dictionary.
Rawiya's dictionary. There you go.
So in order to assimilate and to be more accepting, you know, and then we have to also understand too that this goes back, because we're talking about the mental conditioning of it all.
Yeah.
And why we give it away is because we didn't understand it. We were afraid of it. Everything that we ever knew about. Y'all remember back in the day? I never did this, but I heard it.
That's a
disclaimer means I did it.
Dark-skinned people were called African booty scratchers.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was our mentality about being connected with Africa. It was all, and our perception was that Africans were running around in the bush naked, and that was it. That there was no civilization. So there was this desire to not identify.
Right. Because we weren't controlling the algorithm. Somebody else
Weren't
was.
controlling the algorithm.
Make that t-shirt.
Girl, the t-shirt is done. It's on my computer. Nolan looking at it right now. It's on my laptop right now. Yeah.
But you're
So
right, though.
okay, and this is so crazy because you guys, I'm telling y'all, going a little bit deeper than I had anticipated. Because I was just thinking about how, and this is going to come off real weird, but I'm not going to apologize for it because we got to deal with the reality of it. We have been so inviting. You know,
it's who we are.
Come, we open the doors. Welcome, come on in. You want to learn our dance? Let me show it to you. I have been paying attention to our HBCUs, our marching bands. And I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit, I said I'm going to apologize, didn't I?
You said
that's a mental conditioning. But I'm just a little bit disappointed in that we have non-melanated people who are pushed at the forefront of our marching bands, which to some individuals might not understand the importance of that to our college culture. Those show bands, and when I worked in UIL with Houston ISD, I was over fine arts. So even though the majority of my work was in theater, I also had to work with the band directors. And they were the Black band directors who were at predominantly African-American schools. They were doing show band. UIL, the whole rubric was not conducive to show band style. So I was trying to push for a change in the rubric. My brothers didn't understand what I was trying to do. They thought I was pushing against them. Like, no, you're fighting. You're reaching for low-hanging fruit. What's happening here in the district is irrelevant. We need to get to the state. That's where it matters.
That's where it matters.
So my point is that, you know, that is, so from high school, from that where our kids get exposed to it and they go to our HBCUs and their quest is to be a part of the marching band, because not just, I just want to march in to a beat, I just want to dance. The whole culture of the HBCU marching band is crucial to the development of that population of young Black minds.
Wow.
So for us to now be so willing to push everybody else into the forefront, get online too. You're good. You're just as good.
Right.
But this is our space. And I have a piece where this talks about the regentrification of Acres Homes, and I welcome to our come on in. But you're not discovering America. We are here. We have already been here. We've been doing show band style for ages, but now we're just handing it away.
Yeah,
we're just giving it off. So that was, I'm kind of like surface level. That's where I was talking about, giving away the culture, but y'all are kind of going deep into what's on the plate. But I think we still have a little bit more life in this discussion of how we have not only, how our culture has not only been usurped, but we've given it away as well. He's talked about how we've ignored what is a part of our essence.
Yeah.
And one of those things is how we eat, and so each of you are bringing up a different element of it, but let's close that little piece out. Give me a final word on how we give away our culture. Give me something to take home.
I'm going to just throw this out here, and I say this all the time, and I'll keep saying it. If you don't know who you are, and what you are, you will never be what is inside you. You will never be the Christ within, the incarnate, or whatever it is that you might believe it to be, because it might not be Christ, whatever your spiritual belief system is, but that divine flourishing energy inside of you. If you don't know it, you'll never be it.
Mayasa, you said something very important. If we don't know who we are, we don't know whose we are. But the whole importance, the biggest importance of Black culture is that we pass it on so that we know who we are. We know who we are. We will feel proud of our African ancestry.
Absolutely.
And there's a certain degree of pride when we know who we are,
yes,
and the magnificent things that we have contributed to the world. It's a large degree of pride that goes within that. Also, knowing who you are and your culture brings you together as a people, that you identify with this people, and there is harmony, and there is unity in that. We learn to love one another, which is very hard for us because we're not identifying with one another, because we don't know our culture, who we are, what we've done.
And I think that there could not be a better note to pause on. We are not ending the conversation, but we are going to take a break for my favorite part of the podcast, and that's artistic impact. Because I personally believe that we can talk about something all day long, but you have to be able to help people break down barriers and walls so that they can hear and feel and be touched at their core. So today we have with us live in the house for our artistic impact, Mr. Jimmy Jacob, and he's a local musician from here in Acres Homes. I've known this brother probably since I was about 12 years old in the seventh grade.
Jimmy.
Came through the same fine arts program. So he's gonna bring us some music. And Jimmy, give me a little background, because
the first piece I'm gonna do is called "Nabat and Pa." It was written when I was living in Montreal, Canada. It's in French. I'm not gonna do the words because I screw up the French, but. The piece talks about not giving up. There's always hope.
Okay. Let's get this plastic.
Everyone turn.
All right. Thank you,
All
Jimmy.
right. We're not done yet. Find episode 7, part 2, and let's keep the conversation going.
Season 1 of Shop Talk Podcast is funded in part by a grant from the City of Houston through the Houston Arts Alliance.